Listen to these riddles. Tell me if you interpret them as I do. 1. What has yellow skin and writes?
A ballpoint banana.
Right.
Batman, like Superman, had appeared in several serial adventures in the 1940s, and had always been one of the more popular comic book superheroes since his debut in 1939. His popularity skyrocketed in 1966 when the Batman TV series premiered.
And then, as they have done many times before, as Batman and Robin, courageous warriors against crime, they are off once again to the rescue.
Batman premiered on January 12, 1966. The show immediately stood out from the other program choices on the air. With its bright colors, silly plots, and campy humor, it immediately endeared itself to the audiences of both young and old. Kids could enjoy the fantasy elements of the show, taking it a little bit more seriously, and adults could giggle at the show's utter silliness. Whether liking it or not, everyone would have to agree it had a very unique style, and nothing else like it was on the tube. I mean, once you hear that theme song, you never forget it. It really stood out in the television landscape. Near the end of the first season, a feature film was decided on, to capitalize on the popularity the show had gained. It would mark the first full-length theatrical adaptation of the Caped Crusader. The film went into production at the end of the first season of the television show.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
With a budget just under $1.5 million, it would include all the trademarks from the show fans had come to expect. The costumes, the sets, and preposterous plots. To amp things up, the dynamic duo didn't just face one villain, not two villains, not even three villains, but four.
Their forces combine.
Holy nightmare!
Batman, could it be?
Cesar Romero, Burgess Meredith, and Frank Gorshin would reprise their television roles as the Joker, the Penguin, and the Riddler. Julie Newmar, who played the role of Catwoman on the show, was unavailable for the film, so Lee Merriweather took on the part. Most of the supporting actors from the show would be back, along with the show's creator, William Dozier, to lend his voice as the memorable narrator. Of course, the irreplaceable Adam West and Burt Ward would return to their roles as Batman and Robin. This time out, the dynamic duo must face the fearsome foursome who have plans to take over the world. They are armed with this de-hydrater gun and dehydrate all the members of the United World Council. With their intelligence, deductive skills, along with the Bat-Boat, the Bat-Cycle, the Bat-Copter, and the super-molecular dust separator, Batman and Robin are able to stop the fiends and restore the Council back to their original selves. Yeah. Along the way, Bruce Wayne is kidnapped, Catwoman masquerades as a Russian hottie, Penguin manages to infiltrate the Batcave, and Batman faces off with a shark, resulting in one of the more memorable lines from the film.
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray!
What can I say about this film? If you don't like the TV show, you're probably not going to like the film. It's essentially an extended television episode. If you think the show is silly, juvenile, stupid, and question the logic behind it all, like why is the Joker bothering with the mask? I mean, is that really going to disguise him? Then you'll probably say the same thing about the movie. If you're one of the fans who can just sit back and bask in the show's goofiness, then this film is for you.
Miss Cooke. May I see you home to that borrowed penthouse apartment?
I've always enjoyed the show. I can accept the bizarre world it's presenting and not for 1 minute take any of it seriously, something the creators didn't either. It might not be the most ideal interpretation of Batman that fans would like to see today, but for the longest time this was what general audiences' vision of the Batman character was. Perhaps the timing of the show was as much of a reason for its success than anything else. You know, the turbulent 60s, protests, the war, assassinations. Maybe it was exactly what was needed for people who want to forget all the problems in the world for 30 minutes and watch the ludicrous adventures of Batman and Robin. 4 actors have played Batman in the newer films we all know, and each one brought something of their own to the role. But I don't think any of them could have done as good a job as Adam West did had they played in this format. I'm not sure anyone else could have pulled it off.
I swear by heaven, if you've harmed that girl, I'll kill you all. I'll rend you limb from limb.
West was able to play the ridiculous aspects of the show pitch perfect. Some of his line deliveries are instant classics.
You risked your life to save that riffraff in the bar?
They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings. And may be salvaged. I had to do it.
It's not only because of the lines themselves, but along with the sincerity and melodramatic way he delivers them. His baritone voice, the dramatic pauses and conviction when he says some of this stuff, play an exaggerated deadpan seriousness. Fits right in with the absurd design of the show. The cast is all great for what they're meant to do. Of course they must have felt completely silly doing some of these scenes, but you wouldn't know it from watching it. They all play it as sincere as if they were doing a Shakespeare play. It's a shame how their superhero roles became a detriment to their careers once their shows ended. Adam West, Burt Ward, George Reeves, they never could get out of the shadows of the characters they played. At the time, being the leads in the Batman and Superman shows were looked down upon, and the fact that they had played those characters in popular shows was too much baggage on them for other parts to be offered down the road. Those costumes were just too much to overcome. I think those guys got screwed simply by doing a good job. It's ironic how nowadays a superhero role is so valued in comparison as it was back then. Today, any actor would kill to get one, and there would be much less fear of being typecast in it. Audiences and filmmakers are much more accepting of allowing the actor to move on to other projects. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy are more respected today. But it was a different time back then, I guess. The show also, unfortunately, helped cement the general perception that comic books were just kid stuff. Light, jokey material that couldn't be taken seriously. The ripples of that attitude would persist for years. Whether fans want to categorize it as a black mark in the character's resume, it did elevate the popularity of the character, and West became the sole actor most closely associated with the role for decades. If given the chance, I still would want West's Batmobile over any others. I just think it would be so cool to be sporting around in that thing.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.